Windtalkers is a 2002 American war film directed and produced by John Woo and starring Nicolas Cage and Adam Beach. The film was released in the United States on June 14, 2002. Plot: during World War II, USMC Corporal Joseph F. Joe Enders rallies himself to return to active duty with the aid of his pharmacist, Rita. He previously survived a gruesome battle on the Solomon Islands against the Imperial Japanese Army that killed his entire squad and left him with a scar on his neck and almost deaf in his left ear. Enders' new assignment is to protect Navajo Code Talker Private Ben Yazi, and carries a promotion for Enders to Sergeant. Sergeant Pete Ox Anderson also receives a parallel assignment protecting Navajo Code Talker Private Charlie Whitehorse. The Navajo Code, as it was known, was a code based on two parts: 1. The Navajo language, and 2. A code embedded in the language, meaning that even native speakers would be confused by it, referring to a tank as a turtle, for example. The code was close to unbreakable but also so difficult only a few people could learn it. Yazi and Whitehorse, lifelong friends from the same Navajo tribe, are trained to send and receive coded messages that direct artillery fire. Enders and Anderson are shown evidence that captured Navajos are tortured to death to get the code and instructed that it cannot fall into enemy hands. This implies that they are to kill the code talkers if capture is imminent. As Enders and Anderson meet Yazi and Whitehorse, it becomes apparent that the two experienced Marines are less than happy to be babysitting the Navajo code talkers. The Navajos must endure racial harassment by the white soldiers, notably Private Chick. But during the missions, Anderson and Whitehorse discover a mutual love of music, Whitehorse with his flute and Anderson with his harmonica. As the practicing becomes more and more melodic, Anderson intones that the music is turning into something. They become not just soldiers, but friends. Enders and Yazi also discover that they have much in common, notably the Catholic upbringings. The invasion of Saipan is Yazi's and Whitehorse's first combat experience. After the beachhead is secured in vicious fighting, the Marines come under friendly fire from American artillery. Yazi's radio is destroyed and the convoy is unable to call off the bombardment. Yazi suggests that he disguise himself as an Imperial Japanese soldier and slip behind enemy lines to commandeer a radio. Enders goes with him as a prisoner and eliminates several Japanese soldiers. Yazi is forced to kill for the first time before he can redirect American artillery fire onto the Japanese position. For the bravery, Enders is awarded a Silver Star by the commanding officer, with Yazi's role almost ignored until Enders points him out but still credits Enders. Enders sees Pappas praying by Nellie's hastily dug grave and, knowing he was alive because of Nellie's actions, gives the medal to Pappas with instructions to send it to Nellie's wife. Later, after a night of sake drinking, Yazi performs Navajo rituals over the unconscious Enders to protect him with the spirits. That night the Marines camp in a village, Tanapag, thought to be secured. Yazi is temporarily assigned back to the command post to translate a code. Enders becomes increasingly torn because, despite his orders, he cannot imagine killing Yazi. He demands to be relieved from his unit, but this request is denied. The next morning, Japanese soldiers attack and Whitehorse saves the life of Private Chick, the racist who beat Yazi for being Navajo. Henderson takes cover with Whitehorse and the two hold off numerous Japanese. Running low on ammunition, he realizes Whitehorse is in danger of being captured. He presses his pistol against Whitehorse's chest as the Navajo watches horrified, asking his friend why. Anderson cannot bring himself to pull the trigger on the man he has grown close to. Turning to meet the enemy, Henderson is beheaded by a samurai sword and Whitehorse is about to be captured by the Japanese. Anders sees Whitehorse being beaten and dragged away by the Japanese and tries to shoot the captors with his pistol, but it has run out of ammunition. Anders pulls out a grenade but hesitates as he makes eye contact with Whitehorse. Whitehorse, realizing the Japanese will torture him for the code, vehemently nods to Anders, who grimly primes the grenade and throws it at Whitehorse's feet. The ensuing explosion kills both Whitehorse and the Japanese captors. Yazi returns to Tanapag and, seeing Whitehorse's body, screams at Anders to explain what happened as the village was thought to be secured. Anders, exhausted, mutters that he killed Whitehorse, but does not reveal that Whitehorse was willing to die to protect the code. Outraged, Yazi aims his weapon at Anders but cannot bring himself to kill him in cold blood. Anders confesses that he hated having to kill Whitehorse and that, like Henderson, his mission was to protect the code above all else. The Marines are mobilized on another mission and are again ambushed, this time near a deadly minefield. After fighting out of the kill zone and taking cover on an old battle-torn ridge, the Marines see Japanese artillery fire from the top of the ridge, decimating the advancing American troops below the position. Still enraged over the death of Whitehorse, Yazi charges the Japanese line fearlessly, and in so doing, fumbles the radio needed to call in the coordinates for an effective bombardment. Yazi and Anders are both shot as they retrieve the radio and call in an airstrike on the Japanese artillery. However, surrounded and knowing the Japanese will capture and torture him for the code as they almost did with Whitehorse, Yazi entreats Anders to kill him. Anders, grimly determined that no one else will die that day, manages to carry Yazi to safety after taking a shot in the chest. Friendly planes arrive and the Japanese position is successfully destroyed. Yazi rejoices in the success but finds Anders mortally wounded. With his last breaths, Anders reverts to the religious upbringing he earlier claimed he had abandoned, and recites a Hail Mary. Returning to the U.S., Yazi, his wife, and his young son George Washington Yazi sit atop Point Mesa in Monument Valley, Arizona, and, wearing the sacred necklaces and other Navajo ceremonial dress, performs the Navajo ritual of paying respects to the man who saved his life. He tells his son that Anders was a fierce warrior and Marine and that if his son ever tells a story about Anders, to simply say that he was Yazi's friend. He then cleans Anders' dog tags in holy water, reaffirming his own religious doctrine. He lifts them to the sky while chanting in ritual, sending Anders' spirit reverting to the earth as the vast Palisades surround and watch over them. An epilogue explains that the Navajo Code was crucial to America's success against Japan across the Pacific Theater and that, during the war, the code was never broken. Cast: Nicolas Cage as Sergeant Joe Anders, Adam Beach as Private Ben Yazi, Peter Stormare as Gunnery Sergeant Richard Helmstead, Noah Emmerich as Private Charles Chick Clusters, Mark Ruffalo as Corporal Milo Pappas, Christian Slater as Sergeant Peter Ox Henderson, Roger Willie as Private Charlie Whitehorse, Brian Van Holt as Private Andrew Harrigan, Martin Henderson as Private Thomas Nelly, Francis O'Connor as Pharmacist's Maid Second Class Rita, Jason Isaacs as Major Melitz. Production. Filming locations on Hawaii included Gualo Ranch, the location where Lost and Jurassic Park were shot. To portray the Marines in the film, the producers recruited extras that were volunteers from Schofield Barracks Army Base, Hickam Air Force Base, Pearl Harbor Naval Station, and Kaneohe Marine Corps Air Station. Some of the actual Marines from 4th Force Recon Company were used in the film, portraying their actual job. Some violence was trimmed in order to avoid an NC-17 rating. This violence trim was restored for the director's cut released on DVD. For the F-6F Hellcat fighters that appear in the beach landing scenes on Saipan, the producers used computer-generated versions. Release. Box office. The film was a box office bomb, grossing only just under $41 million at the U.S. box office and a combined $77.6 million worldwide. Critical reception. Windtalkers received negative reviews from critics. It currently holds a 32% approval rating from Rotten Tomatoes, based on 167 reviews. Roger Ebert gave the film 2 stars, remarking that the filmmakers have buried it beneath battlefield cliches, while centering the story on a white character played by Nicolas Cage. The film was criticized for featuring the Navajo characters only in supporting roles. They were not the primary focus of the film. The film was ranked number 4 on Career After Military.com's 10 most inaccurate military movies ever made, which also included The Patriot, The Hurt Locker, U-571, The Green Berets, Pearl Harbor, Battle of the Bulge, Red Tails, Enemy at the Gates, and Flyboys on its list of falsified war movie productions.